The default mode network and negative imagination is at the heart of all anxiety. And if we can control the default mode network, then we are a long way along the road to controlling anxiety. In recent years, there has been a lot of work done on mindfulness meditation. Research has shown that mindfulness practices are one of the best methods of keeping people away from depression, far better than any form of medication. It's also been shown by examining people that have meditated for a long time that the default mode network slows down significantly. So the more people meditate using mindfulness techniques, then the more the default mode network calms down. In addition to that, it gives the skills to control the operation of anxiety when we're not actually using mindfulness techniques. And therefore this is something I want to introduce you to next. A lot of the work on mindfulness has been carried out by Jon Kabat-Zinn in America and by the Oxford Mindfulness Centre in UK, and this has now spread worldwide. And a mindfulness program is normally 8 weeks long, and it is a progressive step-by-step approach into acquiring mindfulness techniques. This program of recordings is not aimed at teaching you full mindfulness, but I am going to introduce you to a single practice that you can now start to put into effect and that you can use in addition to or replacing some of the breathing techniques that we've done earlier. Before we start on this practice, I want to be clear about what mindfulness is and what it is not. It is not an attempt to just cause deep relaxation or to go on a trip or to go into altered states. Mindfulness is a practice of attention, and mindfulness cannot be done incorrectly. The purpose is to focus your mind on a specific object. And when we do this over a long period of time, our minds will drift. We'll start thinking about something else. We'll start to think about work or getting a meal ready for the kids or whatever. And in a mindfulness session, all you do is notice that and very gently just bring your mind back to the point of attention. And it will drift again and again. You bring it back. It's a bit like trying to train a puppy. You bring the puppy in and you ask it to sit and stay, and the puppy gets up and wanders off. And so you go and you pick it up and you bring it back, and the puppy wanders off. And you go and you bring it back, and you keep doing that gently and consistently, and the puppy will learn what you want it to do. And it is the same with the mind. The mind will tend to wander when it is concentrating on the single thing all the time. And your task is to notice this and to bring it back onto the object of concentration. Now, based on what we were talking about before, you'll be able to see why we want to do this. When we are focusing, we're using the task positive network. When we drift, the default mode network has come into play. And when we bring our attention back, we're back on the task positive. And we are training our minds not to drift onto the default mode network and not to get out of control. That is not to say that you must not ruminate or reflect at any time. What we're saying is that at certain times, then we are going to train our minds and bring it under control. It's a bit like I gave the example in earlier talks about going to the gym. and you go to the gym and you train muscles, you work on various machines. That doesn't mean to say that when you're out of the gym you can't just sit back and relax. You don't have to be doing the exercise all the time. There are specific times when you're going to do the mindfulness, and at those times you bring the mind under control. And then when you're starting to suffer from the symptoms of anxiety, you have the techniques and the skills to calm down the default mode network and bring your mind back under control.